Yes. Good evening, everybody. Great to see so many friends and family here tonight to celebrate the great occasion. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge that most of you traveled outside of Colorado to get here for this weekend. Some from Germany and Poland. That's a big commitment. We appreciate it, certainly. A round of applause. Now to the main attraction, the bride and groom over there. We've obviously known Annikah her whole life, and I've gotten to know Finn pretty well over the past 2 years with him living here in Colorado Springs. So we might have some unique insight on what makes them work so well. Here are the top 3 things you should know about this special couple. To use a Midwest term, they're ornery old mules. In a positive way. You would have a tough time finding another couple in their early 20s who have chosen not to drink, smoke, do drugs, or even consume caffeine for the most part. On top of that, they rarely eat fast food and normally cook at home with very healthy ingredients. These two have decided to live a very clean life, and they're ornery enough to actually do it. Very impressive, in my opinion. They might end up being married for 80 years. The second thing, I vividly remember being very protective of all my children, but especially Annikah, when they were little. I'd often wake up at night and have a dream of an intruder breaking into our house and running into a pretty fierce dad with an itchy trigger finger. Spring ahead 20 years, and the future's wide open for these two. Annikah's pretty fierce on her own, but as of today, she also has a husband that can literally crush any threat. Any bad guy would have to be a complete idiot to try to harm Annikah, thanks to Finn. I cannot imagine a better person to protect his Norwegian princess on their future adventures and allow us to sleep well at night. And number 3 is Annikah and Finn met by chance at a young adults church group. There's no dating service or relationship expert, yet they're likely the best match that any of us have ever seen. They complement each other so perfectly in almost every personality trait, yet they have very similar beliefs when it comes to family, religion, politics, and so forth. It's actually a little annoying because those two literally communicate non-verbally with facial expressions and seem to know exactly what the other one's thinking, so they're hard to debate, They definitely have a very special bond and are truly best friends, which is awesome. In conclusion, it's an amazing day and the perfect couple, and we're happy to welcome Finn to our family. So cheers to the bride and groom.
Okay. I promised Finnley I wouldn't embarrass him. No vulgarity. I'm going to stay back here so he can't look at me. But I normally never prepare for things like this. I'm big into improv and extemporaneous things, but Finnley said, Dad, prepare it. So that's what I did. So I'm going to look at my note here. I have 2 words. No vulgarity, don't embarrass him. No. When I heard that Finnley was going to get married, like any father, I spent some time with him on the phone, giving him some advice. And when I got off the phone, I realized what an idiot I still was, that I needed to get advice from him. Finnley's grandfather and grandmother couldn't be here, but his grandmother's favorite quote was from Kierkegaard, which was, an undisciplined life is not worth living. And Finnley lives a disciplined life. And one of the characters my father wrote was about a colonel who was blind because he was playing with hand grenades, and he was also an alcoholic. And in a movie, he says, I always knew the right way to go. Every time, but I never took it because it was too damn hard. But the thing about Finnley is he knows the right way to go, and he has the strength to take it. Um, you know, today in our culture, it's very cynical and it's very jaded. And I think if the culture was going to say anything about love, it would quote Bukowski and say, love is a dog from hell. But Finnley, as a boy, I raised him on Arthurian Knights and Tolkien and things like this. And to me, they were just old stories, but he took them to heart. And he believed in the code of chivalry. He believed in defending the weak, upholding the right. You know, I'm not Orthodox, but I have a great respect for the Orthodox faith. And the core tenet of the Orthodox faith is that we are on this earth to be transformed into the image and likeness of God through theosis. But it doesn't end there. That's only an idea and a philosophy. It is potentiated by practice, by the doing of deeds. And Finnley is a doer of deeds. But I have to tell you, Finnley, that marriage is the only institution in which a man chooses the means of his own crucifixion. As I have learned, in a good way, because we crucify our own flesh, the old man, so that we can be reborn in the image of God and in service to the one that we love. We know from Scripture that love never fails, that love suffers all things. And to finish my little bit, because now he's getting nervous, Dad, I will quote Shakespeare, who I love, about love, who says, "Love looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love is not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even unto the edge of doom." And he goes on to say, "If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved." So Shakespeare, you're still alive tonight. And I will say to all of you that know Finnley, that the galvanizing force in his life is love. For his friends, whether they're his friends in uniform or his friends outside uniform, for his family. But Finnley has the will and the strength to fight for love. And he has the wisdom to know that love is not a wishy-washy thing. It is a commitment, and it is a sword forged in iron. So toast, Finnley and Annikah.
Let me get that microphone. All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Truman, and I am Finnley's younger brother, the oldest of the remaining three who are also sitting with me at my table tonight. And I don't have a lot of really cool quotes or awesome journalistic things to give out about listing how awesome Finnley and Annikah are, even though they absolutely are and absolutely will be. But Finnley and I, growing up, we had a slightly rocky relationship, but pretty normal for brothers as things go, I remember I lost him at tetherball one day, and I told him I wish he was never born. And then he went on and told on me, which happened all the time. So that was great. But no, when I started to get older and I got into my teens and I started getting into high school, I always remember Finnley was the person I looked up to. And I valued that a lot because in my life, I had a lot of people that were trying to influence me, always in the meeting of their own hearts and always in good faith. But Finnley was the one I valued the most because I felt like he was the person that I wanted to be. He was very disciplined and he always had a goal. And he was incredibly confident about anything that he took on. even if he didn't feel that way, he always showed that. And I remember when he called me 2 weeks ago and he was like, hey, I want you to give a little speech for me. And I was like, oh gosh, like what am I gonna write? Like what am I gonna think about? And the one thing that I can think about where Finnley did not show complete confidence or complete sureness was when he called me about a year and a half ago maybe, I think, yeah, a year and a half ago, and I was at college, and he's like, you know, I'm starting to see this like really, really beautiful girl, and she sent me this text, and I need you to tell me how to respond because I don't know what to respond with. And I had no idea what to say because like I don't know, you know, but I felt that was pretty special because Finnley obviously saw something pretty incredible in Annikah to ask his younger brother for advice, rather than he was usually always giving me advice and, you know, always telling me what to do, but he's like, I don't know what to do. And I also had no idea what to do, but I thought it was a point of vulnerability that he showed, which he never really shows, and I think that's incredibly powerful. But he really, really loves Annikah, and I think that says something about their relationship, and I think it will see that in the future they will stay a very, very strong couple, and God willing, that will be the case. So, toast to Finnley.
Well, okay, volume check, that's good. I'm so happy that everyone's here. Like every one of you, even if I haven't met you personally, I'm so glad that you're here. It's kind of surreal seeing everyone together because it's people from different sections of my life, and like seeing everyone get on well is pretty awesome. There are people I've known here for 10, 15 years from college. It's been great to meet Anna's family, and it's just good to see people together. But most of all, I want to thank Father Andreas and our sponsor, Simon and Ira, who's not here, as well as Matushka Theodora for stepping in on short notice, and also the rest of their family. We're really glad that you're here, and we're glad that you've kind of like nurtured our faith. So just enjoy the food and yeah, have fun. Thanks, guys.